In our last video, we showed how to load the SSV template and how to set up contracts with POBs and how to load delivery and billing events. And also, we showed how to generate the journal entries and show the latest contract status. So this time around, we're gonna finish the delivery and billing events for the most part. And there's another contract I want to set up. The earlier one, let's go to the UAT template and go to contract setup. The earlier template one, we set it up a contract in a period in January, right? So now we're gonna set up another 2 contracts, including this template, contract 3 and contract 4, starting February. So let me double click and load the contracts, and let's view the latest contract status. And you can see there is contract 3 and contract 4 now, with the current period beginning on February 1st. So if I go back to my UAT template file and check the contract setup, so I should see I want the contract start in the current period, which is February 1st. This is when I want to put the contract 3 and contract 4 as the current period. Let me close this. And since now we already set up 4 contracts, let's continue loading the delivery and the billing events. So we already finished uploading the January one. Now I'm going to do the February one. And as you can tell, the system is processing it almost in an instant. It's very fast. So this is March. Notice that in April, I made it a little bit special. I'm actually processing a negative quantity and negative billing for a customer return scenario, and a lot of companies have to deal with this, right? And eRev, of course, can accommodate customer returns and also refund as well. So let me double click this and enter April 30th and click OK. Now all of my revenue recognition events have been processed. Whenever you process the return, you would expect revenue to be reversed, right? So to check whether that's true or not, you can always click latest contract status. And in the latest contract status, you can check whether the contract has a negative quantity delivery and also revenue being reversed. So if we go back to our template and check our delivery event for the return, so we can tell it's a return made for contract 1, and then also there are billings made on other contract 1's POB as well as contract 2. So, and this one, this means I would expect to see a return for the quantity delivered for this POB number 1 in contract 1, and also refund as well as a negative revenue recognition, which is a revenue reversal, right? So let's exit this and go back to our summary and look at POB number 1 here. And if I scroll to the right, and let's see my current revenue delivery, and you can see the delivery is -3, current rev rec, and current billing, all correctly reflected here. And with this, let me exit out this. So notice there is another full delivery event in October. We will hold on to this one for the moment because I want to process all of the different types of contract modifications in the remainder of this video before I get to the full delivery to basically deliver everything remaining on those contracts. So let me cancel for now. And you can tell one thing eRev does is every time you deliver contracts, and it's very fast and the processing is very quickly. and this is one of the benefits of self-managed system. Like it's not dependent upon cloud service provider's speed or like how fast they can process your data. So everything is in your control here. And now we finished delivered all the events all the way to end of April. And next we will process a variety of contract modifications. So if you had experience using some other cloud-based revenue recognition systems, you probably already experienced some of the troubles when processing contract modifications, because it can be very tedious and very difficult exercise. That's why in designing eRev, I try to make contract mod as simple as possible. The fact I only create one universal template for contract modifications, hoping you only need to get used to one contract mod template, and then just by clicking different buttons, so to let the system treat those contract modifications differently. So before we start, let's visit some of the contract modifications template we have. I'm just going to directly open some of the UAT contract mod scenarios. Here I have already built 5 scenarios. The first one is in May, on May 15th. We're going to process a retrospective with the VC, with variable consideration, and also add some POBs, quantities, to a contract. And in June, we're going to process a prospective contract mod, which is a reduction in the contract scope. And in July, we're going to process another prospective contract mod, which is increases the POBs. And in August, we will process a retrospective contract modification again, which reduces our POBs. And then our last one is probably one of the most difficult one out there is we're going to exercise or mature right and adding the new POBs due to the mature right exercise as part of the prospect for contract modification. So all those 5 scenarios are essentially using the same contract modification template. If I open up the first one, and this is a contract modification template, all it asks is contract unique name, POB unique ID, SKU name, which identified existing POBs, or if you want to add new POBs in, you can just create a new unique ID or a new SKU name and assign a contract to it. So either way works. And you can update the POB start and end dates as well, and assign 606 stratification, and tell the system how much changes in billing and how much changes in quantity, and which selling entities those POBs belong to, and what are the deferred revenue account and unbilled AR account used by those POBs. And also, you can assign which version of SSPs you want the contract modification to use. A lot of other solutions would only allow you to use the current SSPs active, which in many cases, especially in retrospective contract modifications, you would want to use older SSPs you have in your SSP template. eRev accommodates this because I built this functionality just because I encountered some of the earlier difficulties when I was trying to use older SSPs to process retrospective contract mod, but the system solution I had back then only allowed me to use active SSPs, which is why I built this functionality, allow you to dictate and manipulate which SSP version you want applied SSP to. With this, let's go ahead and process our first contract mod, which is retrospective contract mod on May 15th, 2023. Let me click this and go to the contract mod UAT folder, and all I need to do is select this file and enter a contract modification date. So eRev by default doesn't take any accounting convention. A lot of solutions will tell you, well, you probably want to treat all the contract modifications on the first day of the month or the last day of the month. eRev doesn't have that limitation. You can enter the factual and actual contract modification date you want in here, and everything should just work in milliseconds. I click OK, and then now if I click latest contract status, and let's go to our Excel file. Because I processed the retrospective contract modification, I would expect I see a cumulative catch-up done basically on every single POBs for contract number 2. So for now, let's just filter contract number 2 so we can focus on it. And if I scroll to the right, I would be able to see what is my current revenue recognition due to cumulative catch-up by processing this retrospective contract modification. So, and as you can see here, this is the current rev rec due to retrospective contract modification. And this rev rec is not because of the delivery, it is because of a cumulative catch-up due to the retrospective contract mod process. And as you noticed, the eRev will populate all those cumulative catch-up disclosures to you, because I know a lot of the companies out there are obligated to disclose how much is a cumulative catch-up during a specific period. And with this, let me close this and process the second contract modification. So the second one is a prospective contract modification, prospectively reduce the contract scope. And this is 2023, June 15th. Click OK, and it will instantly give you a notification the prospective contract mod has been processed with uploaded notification for the current date. And now if I rerun the latest contract status, and I should see at least one contract will be updated on June 15th, which is our contract number 1. And this is where we are seeing a reduction in a POB scope, and we can continuously process the rest of the contract modifications. So the next one is the July 15th, which is another prospective POB increases. Note I click it a retrospective contract mod instead. In this case, I simply just need to cancel it and click the prospective and select the July file and simply enter my July dates. And again, the prospective mod has been processed almost instantly. The next one is the retrospective in August. So I'm going to enter the August file and click OK. And I think the last contract mod we have is a mature right exercise in September. Let me select this and process this one. And don't worry about how to set up mature rights and how to process mature right in contract mod for the moment. I will have another video just to discuss that in depth. For now, we processed all of the contract modifications. So one of the questions you may have is, well, how could I easily tell how my contract changed from period to period, right? So this is why when I designed eRev, I have this button contract history built. So if you want to look at all the contract history between, let's say, between May and July, just simply click the contract history and pull out May 1st to all the way to July and see how much how much your contract changed. So and once you click OK, an Excel file will automatically saved to the folder with the pop-up window. You don't have to use the pop-up window if you don't like to. I find the pop-up window very convenient if I already have a 100 Excel files open. I don't want to open another one, and I will just use the pop-up window. If you don't want it, Excel is certainly an easier way to do it. And you see this is the contract history between May 1st and July 31st we just generated. So let me double click this one, and then you will see all the version of the changes for those files saved in here. And so contract number 2 basically got changed on May 15th for a prospective contract mod we did, if I recall. And then contract 1 was changed on June 15th, and contract 3 was changed on July along with contract 4. So basically all the changes during the periods will listed in here, and this is one way you can track how contract changed within any period. So let me exit this. The next one I do want to cover a little bit is a database, right? Which we'll be going to cover it in our next video. Thank you guys for watching.